Hey everybody, I'm Mark Scattergood.
I'm Steve Thompson.
Welcome to the actually I just lost the date, August 14th live stream. Today's focus is on art.
Woohoo! We love art.
A lot of you requested Mr. Thompson to come back on camera, so here he is.
We're back.
And he's going to give us an overview of what we're going to see today.
Yeah, we've been very busy. We're making lots of robots and new planets and explosions, and we're having a good time playing the game every day. It's getting more and more fun every day. So today we're going to talk, we're going to introduce you to a couple of members of the art team, Tim Cox and Brandon Orden. They're going to be showing you metal planets and lava planets, and they're looking sharp. We can't wait to show you guys. So and we're going to show you a little bit about the art process and what we go through to create these things from concept to completion. So those guys are going to help us out a little bit. So without further ado, let's meet Tim Cox.
And that is me. Hi, I'm Tim Cox, environment artist here at Uber, to talk about building planets and how fascinating and fun it is and how much we enjoy it and how much it frustrates us and excites us, everything in between. I kind of want to start at the beginning, which for us as artists is in 3D Studio Max often, just building models and very simply, starting out simple and testing, and then iterating. Iterating is, as you know, if you know anything about game development, it's a huge part of a solid process to get things going quicker and working less about perfection and more about just functionality and then, polishing near the end. So, let's see. I thought I opened this already. I have a 3D Studio Max scene with literally all my pieces for the project I'm currently working on, which is the metal planet. The metal planet is kind of a new beast for us because it's, unlike all previous planets and biome types, is man-made versus natural, which means that we have to kind of work against some of the randomization and simplex noise and algorithms we use to create organic and natural randomness. We want the metal planet to have a more of an organized Death Star-like man-madeness.
Yeah. That presented a lot of challenges.
Look it up, man-madeness.
That presented a lot of challenges up front, right? Because
yeah, so a lot of the code for placing and spacing and randomizing brushes needed to be relooked at, and so I got in and I was really excited to start making some very sci-fi kind of cool futuristic stuff, which is always a great time. I really quickly found though that as I was making things, the more complicated stuff was not working as well as the really simple stuff. What am I looking at here? So we as the environment artists create models, which we also call brushes, or CSG, which is constructive solid geometry, I believe. And additive and subtractive, meaning we make a model that adds to the planet's surface and extends above the surface, or a subtractive model that cuts into the planet's surface and makes a canyon or crack or trench. So I'm looking now in Max at my additive structures. And like I said, I really got a lot of mileage out of just literally a simple cube shape. Very single enough. Like this is 20 triangles, highly complicated artwork. All this also is, none of the textures are even close to finished yet. It's all kind of temp, and the geometry will go through iteration and details added as needed. But I really just started exporting the simple brushes into the game and adding them to the planet first, and then kind of building on that. Let's see, here's some of the subtractive brushes.
So these are the ones that'll carve into the planet, make those cool trenches and those deep things, and where we put the bridges over the top. Those are more the additive ones, right?
I should show my Boolean example. Yeah, here. So here's some geometry testing for a compound brush, which is additive and subtractive together.
So basically, it carves into the planet, and then as one operation, and then the second operation is an additive to put the bridges over the top of the
Yeah,
crevice.
step one. This is not my station. None of my keyboard shortcuts work right.
No.
There's the cutout first, and then the additive piece. You know, a framework or something to finish the edge of the trench, as opposed to just having it meet with whatever texture is on the planet's surface. And having control over that's really, I think, important to finish the edge of things that are cut in.
Yeah, that's the advantage of those compound brushes, is that you can precisely place a bridge exactly where you want it, and then it kind of functions as one operation for that CSG, so we get more precise control over how those things will function. Because bridges are going to be important for this the metal planets, right?
Right. The metal planet has Death Star-like trenches that you want to get past, and I'm hoping that we get bridges working as compound brushes to lay right where we want them over the trench. I think we're getting there. I thought it would be cool if players could build a bridge over
Oh, that would be
the
cool.
trench.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's funny that
Wish list.
as we're creating this stuff, like new ideas just come up because we're seeing new visuals. It's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if this whole thing spun, or this section came out, or animated in a cool way? And
I'm sorry.
oh no, please, no. It's all you. I'm sorry. Just kind of excited.
This is the chaos that is my Mac scene. It's just full of a lot of trial and error pieces, abandoned pieces. Like this one's too noisy when I put it on. It just was too distracting. May revisit. Things that are very unique and very kind of eye-catching will be kept to a minimum in terms of their presence on the planet, and may have specific placement. And speaking of specific placement, we did a piece that was to cap the northern and southern pole caps of the planet. There it is. Again, there's a subtractive piece, this disk that kind of cuts a hole in the top and bottom of the planet, and then these sort of spider legs that create trenches extending out from the pole cap. And then an additive piece that fills in. I'm about to show you how this comes together, so hang in there. So it's a full circular piece. I only built a quarter, and then we instanced that. Just makes things easier all around for texturing and model data, memory overhead, etc. So I think that's all I'm going to show in the max file. Okay.
Don't say that.
Don't say that. That's a mess. Let's see. So next is some screenshots. I'll start with Steve's glorious pre-production, previs concept modeling and rendering that he did how many months ago now?
Oh man, I don't know, 6 or 8, 11, I don't know. It's been a while.
F11.
Oh, here, we'll full screen that. There you
Sorry.
go. Oh, no problem. Sorry.
I'm technically incompetent at times. But you like me anyways.
Spacebar 2.
Oh, it's
There, we'll hit enter. 'Cause
it's
it'll-
getting ahead of me.
Yeah.
So that is a giant eyeball. Enjoy. Back to Steve's concept. So this is the work he did, which is just gorgeous. I love it. Gives you a sense of where the metal planet is going, and what I'm trying to do is sort of get to this destination as best I can. I feel like I'm about 10% there at this point.
It's for a long time.
It's subjective, but so where I'm at is we have the planet. I'm right now struggling with surfacing the planet in an orderly fashion. We have decals that are placing, and they're kind of very random at the moment, so we're trying to figure out ways of creating stripe elements and maybe adding color. Oh, thank you. You guys can't see my fingers when I'm pointing. I'll use the cursor. Am I a bright shade of red now? So eventually we want to come here and add bits of color. Right now the metal planet is just gray and very drab, so moving ahead. Here's the planet, and here you can see the decal work. A little bit of specular highlighting going on there. The decals help you to deal with the repetitive nature of tiling textures. Mm-hmm. These place in such a way that it feels non-repetitive and yet sort of formal and unified.
Yeah, because they're not rotating anymore.
They don't rotate. They're aligning to the poles, so we still have a kind of a lateral, linear look.
And the other challenge is that they're not pinching towards the poles yet, and that's tech we eventually want. So because of the CSG, like those subtractive and additive components that go on the planet, those are pinching towards the poles, which looks cool. Because if they don't do that, it looks kind of odd because they're on a spherical shape, but they're not, hedging towards that pole. That's why we had to make those caps, right? Because those caps kind of hide all that pinching.
We ran into a lot of problems, where models were being placed and they were either crossing over the poles or getting near them, and we were just large chunks of polygons were dropping out.
Yeah, because it would pinch so much that the geometry would actually get so distorted that it would cause errors.
So this was the last thing I showed you in my max file, the cap trench, the cutout piece, and the cap quadrant placed here. This was the first step for me in kind of just adding additive and simple rectilinear additive and subtractive meshes on the surface and playing with our new latitude and longitude snap controls for controlling in meters, like how far apart do we want to space these arrays of elements. And we have come a long ways. Thank you, Alan, if you're out there.
Yeah, thanks, Alan.
We miss you.
We do.
Please come again. Just more iteration, adding more pieces. Like I said, I feel like I get a lot of really good mileage out of the simple squares and rectangles, cutting into and extruding out from the surface, and like these little tiny trenches. And
I find that a lot, that the more complexity we add, it gets noisy really quick. And we always end up pulling that back to keep it simple. So like
KISS principle.
That's right. Yeah.
You've heard it.
Yeah, it works with
It's true. Here's I built a smaller planet. This one is now showing some of the trench work. Kind of part of the struggle for me right now is getting these trenches to line up end to end in arrays that are more predictable. Mm-hmm. So we're working on dialing that in.
Well, you have the extra challenge of there's different size metal planets, right?
So right. Like you get something looking really cool, and then you change the radius from 20 to 30, and
so
it kind of
the aesthetic changes,
goes sideways on you.
Yeah.
So
So that's an additional challenge. Like the concept was just
one
size.
A whole new approach for this kind of planet to keep it orderly at small and more importantly on large size planets. So it just doesn't become chaos.
We have extra technology like that will not place certain CSG on certain radius planets because the CSG is so large on such a large, small planet that it actually will cause lots of errors. So we have controls over there so we can limit that.
So here's another iteration step. At this point, I think I'm experimenting with a piece of geometry that will lay down our stripe. It's kind of there in some areas and kind of not in others. So they're also not lighting predictably the way we want them, so we'll have to look into that. But ideally, we'd like to use a decal to create a stripe like that, and that will be less obstructive to unit movement during gameplay and all around better, I think, in terms of rendering.
Yeah, it's looking sharp.
So yeah, here at this point, we added in some specular highlight to get more of a metallic kind of feel. A little ways to go still with that, but it's step closer, which is kind of exciting.
That's looking good. Wow.
A little bit more drama in the lighting, kind of matching
That looks awesome.
the surrounding color for the backlight. It's ominous in space.
I haven't seen the new lighting. It looks great.
It's better. So, and these trenches have little glowing lights like you saw in the original concept. So we're trying to get emissivity and specularity into the planet CSG brushes, hopefully soon.
Yeah.
And that'll all improve. I'd like to even be able to place like a point light
Yeah.
up here that will actually light the geometry blue.
Oh man, the possibilities are endless, man. It's great.
We got a wish list that's kind of grows from day. Oh, yeah. Sometimes things just completely go sideways. This was my first attempt at getting our compound trench brushes to work, which was a subtractive trench and additive bridge and kind of cross beams and pipes. Yeah, as you can see, it just didn't go all that well.
Yeah.
Just kind of died. The
cool.
decals wouldn't even render anymore.
It's stuff like this though that gives you ideas for new things. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we come up with a
Like
with
I
a
can really
scaffolding
build on
idea
this
for-
as a partially destroyed
Wouldn't that be
metal
awesome?
planet with a skeletal kind of thing going.
Yeah. So the mistakes are sometimes just
They
awesome
are.
because they give you so much inspiration. It's cool.
So that's all of my work in progress.
Yeah. Well, and
get
also
out of-
kudos to our engineering team. I mean, they're awesome. I mean, and super responsive. And they're, I mean,
Yes.
all these metal planet controls came online really
No,
fast.
we as artists are very lucky.
Oh,
We're on a
God.
small team, and we have
Yeah.
really, really super talented engineers that we can go to, and
Yeah.
they help us without
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. We
being
are
annoyed.
very
It's
fortunate.
awesome.
Very fortunate. Well, Tim, awesome work. It looks really great, and it's
Did you
going
want
to
me
look
to run
fantastic. What's that? Oh,
Do you want me to build the planet in game,
oh yeah. You want to do that? That'd be
or
awesome.
I would?
Oh, that's
like
right.
to.
You can show them different sizes and stuff like that. That'd be cool.
Oops, I don't think I need to do that. Oh, it's already up.
New planet.
So this is our planet editor. And Brandon and I spend a lot of time in here from day to day, setting our planet type and building preview.
Yeah, it's awesome that we can build a completely different planet in seconds. You know what I mean? It doesn't take a month
Yeah.
to build a level like you know traditionally we would have to do.
And this is really a relatively slow build time. I mean, we don't. It's quick for us to make a change,
Yeah.
to make a tweak, and come in here and
Yeah,
rebuild it.
and it's
look
going to get
at it.
optimized. And it's going to get much faster as we go.
Like
But
this.
man, that's great, man.
So this is changes actually that I got in this morning. I have my my stripe mesh aligning more the way I want it to, end to end. I mean, that's a pretty good stripe.
Wow.
It's almost continuous, almost around the entire girth of the planet.
Yeah, it's
There.
getting there.
So
That's speculative.
that was a threshold tweak, by the way, just a different value.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So there's simplex noise fields that I think are still present and counteracting the ring noise, which is the organized
Oh, I see what
noise
you're saying.
type that we're using to make arrays, linear arrays. So I'm sorting out what's going on there and what needs to be moved.
The lighting is so great. I love it.
This is it, the metal planet. It's been a lot of fun to work on. I'm looking forward to pushing it further every
Yeah.
day.
Well, awesome work, man. Looks great. So glad you're on our team.
I am so glad to be here. I love
Right.
you guys.
We're going to hand it back over to Mark. I think he's going to talk a little bit about PAX.
Hey everybody! While we're doing a little bit of hot potato over on the couch and prep for our next segment, we've had a lot of people asking about PAX. We are going to be there. There's going to be a lot of Uber employees there over the course of all 4 days of the show. We can't provide very much detail yet. We should have more information at the end of the week. We hope it will excite all of you. And please, if you're in Seattle on the last, I think the 30th through the 2nd this month, stop by the conference center and come by and see us. Next up, what we're going to be doing is showing the lava planet, and we'll be introducing Brandon Orden, who actually just recently switched over from intern to full-time our art guy for Planetary Annihilation. We're thrilled to have him on here permanently. And with that, let's show off some lava and some of the work being done there.
All right, hello, I'm Brandon Orton, and I'm an environment artist here at Uber. Like Mark was saying, I was an intern here for a few months, and just recently, within the last week or two, I'm now full-time environment artist here. So
Rock and roll, rock
yeah.
and roll.
Yeah, so it's
We're
good to
very
be
glad
here.
to-
Japan prior to that.
Yeah, and I went to Digipen before going to this, and yeah, just recently graduated, and it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been
really
great.
cool since
Brandon's
then.
done some awesome work, and as you will see in just a moment.
Okay.
So take it away.
All right. So I'll start with what we got here on the monitor. Here we have Steve's concept artwork for the lava planet. And this is kind of where just my start, just trying to think about, and this concept art kind of informs to a couple of things, like where do I start modeling anything. So we kind of wanted to get, this kind of gives a good feel for the color palette that we kind of wanted for the lava planet, as well as like what kind of models and features we wanted. Like we wanted to have these really cool lava pools that have these interesting shapes, and they would definitely have this glow to them. They would feel lit. You'd have like all these small rocks that would be on top of the lava that would just look cool. And so this is, I kind of just took this piece of concept art and looked up a lot of reference, and eventually just started digging in and started modeling things and putting them onto a planet, and which was where I'll go next.
Which is great about our system, right? Because
Yeah.
like within minutes we had a new planet type. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's what's so great about those JSON files. We can just, whip up a new planet and
Yeah.
specify some things and point to some certain textures, and we got a new planet.
Yeah.
And then you can start loading it up and adding your stuff like within minutes, which is great.
Yeah, it's really fast to prototype and test things, which is really nice.
Yeah. Again, kudos to our engineering team, always
Yeah.
looking out for us,
Yes,
which is
thank
amazing.
you. Thank you so much. All right, so I'm going to start going into screenshots. So this next couple screenshots I'm going to show like a progression from kind of when it was early to kind of the look it is now. So bear with me. All right, so I started modeling out some lava pools. Now Tim went into a little bit about how our CSG or our brushes work. So we're experimenting with a method of creating a bunch of lava pools that you would basically model out as CSG that basically cut into the planet. And kind of a main direction I got for these is like Steve was telling me, hey, wouldn't it be cool if like we put all these lava pools around each other in a really interesting way, so that you get these cool negative shaped paths that would be kind of neat to see units move through. And let's see, what else for lava pools? Wanted to keep them fairly blocky, and we want to just give them really cool shapes and silhouette so it would look cool whether you're looking from far away or up close. In that same vein, there are a lot of the additive CSG with these big terrain plateaus here. Kind of wanted to achieve the same idea. We wanted to like place them in such a way that it'd be cool. It creates these kind of neat flowing paths that units can move through, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, what's really cool about this and having it basically so much fast real-time feedback, because you're constructing the planet right now. Like this is actually live, you know what I mean, as you're making all this stuff. So you can not only worry about like shapes of CSG and stuff, but you're also changing color palettes and experimenting all that, and so you can iterate on multiple things at once, like textures and colors and shapes and all that kind of stuff, and simplex noise patterns, and you can modify all these parameters and then see it real time. So it's so many parallel processes going on at the same time. It's just a really powerful way for our pipeline. It's just very powerful.
Yeah, definitely. For a lot of the process, I just went on and experimented with a lot of different shapes. You see, you got some swirling lava pools here, as well as like a couple swirls here. I gotta say, I'm a fan of swirling shapes, so I try to include them in whenever I can.
Oh, yeah.
So I was just kind of, this was a lot of experimentation. I was just kind of throwing a lot, putting just all these different models on the planet, see what worked, see what didn't. You'd often get some of these really cool happy accidents where like you'd have a bunch of these lava pools that kind of intersect over each other, and you get like you get a lot of variation out of it. So you see like it's this crack here, and a couple of other pools that are merging with that same crack, and you get like all these little crumbly bits that just look really cool. Back to the idea of winding paths, this is just kind of a cool screenshot that kind of shows just a couple of the lava pools just bunched up just close enough to each other so that they allow.
See tanks streaming through there.
Yeah, yeah.
That'd be so cool.
Now at this point, Steve and I talked a lot, and we were like, you can kind of compare it to the last few screenshots. I was trying to pull back, it's like we were saying with Tim, like I was kind of at a point where there was just so much stuff going on the planet, and I kind of had to take a step back and start pulling stuff out and trying to make it simpler. So I took out a lot of the lava pools that were kind of in there, along with a lot of the decals of like these like dots and cracks on the ground, just to kind of simplify it and make it easier for the the eye to read. And got up to this point. And it was at this point we thought, let's see, what would be cool what if we tried, instead of using, instead of modeling out these CSG pools, what would be cool if we used like decals and simplex noise in order to like generate the lava pools? Because while these shapes look cool, like we were thinking like it would be better if we could get like a much more organic looking, softer or like.
And the simplex is just naturally kind of fractally noisy. It lends itself to that. So I went over and I talked to Elijah about like, hey, how can we, from a programmatic point of view for pathfinding, how do we make this a lava? You can't build on lava and all that kind of stuff. And Elijah, he's so great. He says like, oh, we could do this, and then we could do this, and then we could do both, and he gets all excited about it.
He's very receptive about the idea.
Yeah, and so basically, anything we could possibly want, he said, yeah, we can do it, and so we decided to say, hey, let's try using our water level as for lava and see how that works out. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, totally cool. No, this is good stuff to know. All right, so simplex noise and decals to create lava. I was like, all right, we'll give it a try. And this is basically the first result of that. Now it still looked broken at the time. This is just like after I just kind of threw it in and experimented with it. And I was like, well, you still have these weird artifacting where you can see all these decals, like the borders drawing on top of each other. But while this does look broken, we did think it actually kind of looked better.
Yeah, you immediately get the idea.
Yeah, because now we have like these much more like really much more interesting looking edge, and like and we liked how it was just very random. It just looked more organic all around. And from here, we just kind of decided that we should definitely go down this direction and try to make it look better. So that's basically what I've been up to for the last few. So the first thing I fixed up was the weird artifacting so you don't have these weird edges, and tried to get some color gradation so that just very simple. So you have cooler lava over here and hotter lava within the interior. As you get into the interior of the lava pool. And I kind of just kept going along with the idea. I kind of tried to fix some glow around the edge to just really make it feel hot. That's just one of the things I really wanted to push with the lava planet in general. I just wanted to make it feel really, really hot. And so the color gradation from going from cooler lava to hotter lava and making this edge look cool, those are like the big things on my mind. Just some more progress going in, just refining how the color gradation goes from out to in, working on how the edge will look. Moving on.
That's so great.
Yeah, so this is I took a lot of time working on the edges of the lava, and this was still kind of work in progress. I was just trying to figure out like what kind of decals I could use to really make that edge look really awesome. Took some advantage of some transparent decals so that you can kind of get like a fall off, so like it's more opaque, like red over here, and then as it goes out, it kind of goes to like a more of this purple over here. And that was kind of like that's going back to the concept. Like that was one of the big things, is that Steve wanted me to push like the idea of going like from reds to purples to oranges, because that color palette just looks really cool. And so drum roll, once kind of putting a lot of these elements together, started getting some more interesting results. Just like with all these cracks going along the edge and having like that.
It sells it so well. I love those cracks.
Yeah.
Are soldiers going to burn their feet walking across all that lava?
Yeah, this has got to look like a barren hellscape by the time I'm done. Let's see. So
that's good.
Yeah, here we go. There's some. So around this point, this is about the current look of what it is now. I threw in a lot of more of these rocks floating in the lava, kind of like in the concept. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
I did a little more work on the how the red trails off the edge of the lava, just so the land looks hot.
Yeah.
And these are more or less a lot more of just current screenshots of how it looks now.
And the lava is all based on, it can be adjustable. Like you could have a planet that doesn't have very much lava at all. You have a slider that says, hey, how much lava do you want on this planet? And it's all height based. So, if you can't build on lava, you can't traverse across lava. And if you want to build a certain planet that has a lot of lava, you can do that.
Yep.
It's awesome.
Yeah, and that's all because it's based on basically like a water level.
Yeah.
You can just basically tweak that slider back and forth, and you can add as much or less lava as you want. So these were smaller lava planets, and I decided to build a larger one because it kind of has a different look to it.
Yeah, it does.
Like you have like these broad land bridges that you don't normally get in the smaller one. Just kind of a different look. I thought it was kind of cool.
So you added some CSG in the lava pools. Like, what's the plan for that?
Yeah, so these guys, well, the plan for these guys. Well, I'm gonna refine them more. They're kind of still.
We had talked about like their transitions because right now they just look
right.
like floating.
Oh, right, of course. So we want to get some tech in. So let me see if I can find a better, closer shot of one. Well, get some tech in so that we can place some of these smaller rocks, like up to around the edges of these larger terrain pieces, so that the transition's a lot more gradual. It's not as harsh when it goes from lava to.
Well, and decals too, right?
Decals
we
too, yeah.
We'll eventually have tech that will enable us to put decals right at the base of those CSG, and then that with the transition of like those like lava cracks, decals in combination with those the actual features that are geometry rocks. Man, it'll just be seamless. It'll be great.
Yeah, it'll look so much better.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
Let's see. And pretty much from here on out, I just have a lot more screenshots of like what it currently looks like. Here's some more close-ups of the edge.
Yeah, that's great.
Now this is cool little artifact. I'll show it when I build the lava planet in game. You get this cool glinting around the edges when you turn the planet. Kind of hard for me to describe, but like
You'll see it.
You'll see it in a bit.
So those little lava, the metal spots, of course, won't be in the lava right now. We're going to, it's just, it hasn't been enabled. Like lava hasn't been enabled. We're still working on that technology. So that's why we see metal right in the middle.
Experimental.
Yeah. So, and we'll eventually get, technology that will allow us to change those metal spots to work better with each biome.
Yeah.
Because right now it's just one metal spot and it looks the same everywhere. And we'll eventually, like, if it's placed in grass, it'll have a little bit of grass around it and stuff, so it'll look much tighter.
Let's see. Some like shots of some of the bigger brushes with stuff I'm kind of working around this time.
Yeah, that's great. So are those little tiny rocks, are those features then?
Yeah, these are features.
Wow, that's cool. Wow, that's really cool. I haven't seen that.
Now, this is just to kind of quickly demonstrate how the water height ties into all this. So if you turn this up to 100, the maximum level, you basically get something that kind of looks like a sun. Lava just kind of goes around the entire planet. Conversely, if you just turn it up just a little higher than normal, which 55, a little higher than 50, then you get kind of like these little lava islands and lava covers much more of the planet. And I think if you turn it down to like 40, then you have a lot more land compared to lava.
So cool, we got that glow around there too, atmosphere.
Yeah, that really helped for like the feeling of hotness. I was so glad when I got that in. There's more of that glinting again.
Oh yeah. Do you want to load it up?
Yeah, sure. I think it's about time I will build it. Okay, new planet. All right, here we are.
In seconds.
In
Brand new planet.
Yeah, brand new planet. Let me see if I can zoom in on an edge. There's some just kind of nice. Yeah, here we go.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so depending on like the height of certain, like if there's a really small island of land, like really small, all the decals kind of draw over it in such a way that they look like little floating rocks on the lava, kind of like this. And you can kind of see that glinting I was talking about, how like it kind of gets brighter.
Yeah.
It's kind of just a nice little happy accident. Cool. You can see it here. It's like you can see as I move.
Yeah, once we get some of Ben's time and some technology to support it, we'll have animated lava and bubbling lava. Man, it looks so great.
Yeah, just about like a little bit every week, someone comes in and has like a really interesting idea for like, oh, this effect can happen on this lava planet. Like, volcanoes should like
Should
have a bunch of
erupt.
smoke and
That'd be so cool.
yeah.
So cool. Well, that's awesome, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you.
You've been doing a great job. We're so glad to have you on the team. It's awesome. That's
And-
great.
And yeah, I think it's about it.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you so much for showing
Yeah,
that stuff. I
certainly.
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I wanted to show a little bit about some of the technology we got for you mentioned the decals and the transition decals and stuff.
Yeah.
And I wanted to show you guys. Let's see. Just a few things. So, so like the Earth planet, it has what, 6 or 7 different biomes on it,
Yeah.
like jungle and sand and desert and stuff like that. And you can see that the transitions between those biomes were pretty extreme. Like across here, I mean, it's pretty harsh. And the focus of the game is not necessarily the terrain; it's the units, right? And so having harsh, transitions like this was pretty distracting to the eye. So we have technology now that lets us transition between the biomes, and that's what Brandon was able to leverage for the lava, where you can go from rock all the way to the hottest lava in certain gradients.
Yeah.
And the technology that enabled us to do that gives us these kinds of results, where we have multiple decals that are, and we have so much control over how those decals are placed. They can be placed distance from the water's edge, or how deep the water is, or how high the elevation is, or how far inside the biome you want. We have all kinds of controls for these transition decals now, and it just really helps with the look of it. So, for example, this is kind of what it was before we had those biome edge controls and all those decal controls, and this is kind of what we were looking for. So you can see like the transitions between the biomes. We wanted something a little softer, because it just looks better from a distance and it looks better up close. The other thing that we wanted is, you notice these CSG mountains up here, they would overlap the biome because they're so big, and you wouldn't have decals under them to help with that transition. So what we were looking for was a way to keep large CSG within the biome, or a certain distance away from the edge of the biome, so it looked more natural like this. So we talked to engineering, and they gave us the technology to do that. And that's why we're getting all these really cool transitions now, like decals from this jungle biome are kind of blending more into the desert biome, and they overlap each other, and they're semi-transparent, and you get really cool random patterns. And it just looks great up close, and it also looks great from a distance, because we were struggling with that. The transitions were so harsh.
Yeah.
And it makes it look really great for, well, here's a great idea.
I love how the beaches look. Like, they actually look like they're transitioning into, like, they look like legit organic. Like,
Yeah.
I just like the way the edges, like, around.
They're overlapping each other.
Yeah.
There's 2 extra decals with 50% transparency, and they overlap each other, and they kind of compete for their territory, if you will. So they just create these crazy random patterns, which is just awesome. And this is again another example of, this was actually
What?
Alan changed the code to give us those. This clearly shows that we have control now over how far away these CSG are placed from the edge of the biome. And when Alan changed the code, this was the result. Like, I loaded the planet up one day and I said, "What is going on? Oh my God, this is crazy. Why is it taking so long to build?" And then this is the result. I was like, oh, because there's, I don't know how many million polygons, but it's just crazy. But again, we're getting really cool transitions now between the biomes, which is fantastic. And I'll show you. It's so much easier when you're looking at units like this now, because now you can see the focus is on the units, and that's exactly where it's supposed to be. In a lot of games, so busy so quickly, particularly in combat. You've got effects everywhere, and man, you got to read this stuff quickly with as much stuff as we're going to be pushing. So, yeah, I think that the units are popping, and they're well integrated into the environment now. We're getting closer and closer to what we want it to look like. So it's pretty exciting. That's it. I just want to show you that stuff. And so I guess we're gonna head it over to Mark again. He's gonna talk about one more thing, and I'll give it to you.
All right. Steve's going to be joining me up here. A couple things. as most of you have probably already seen, we have new forums up now. We are so happy to have these new forums up. We switched over to people who are forum nerds like myself. We switched over to Zenforo. So they're faster, they're just easier to use, they're more fun. Doing content like videos and images and everything is just so much easier. If you haven't hopped on recently, hop on the forums, come say hi, and have a great time reading them in a much more readable fashion. Now we're going to switch over to the Reddit questions, and I actually, while Steve and the guys were showing off stuff, I wrote down a couple questions that that we'll spend a little bit of time talking as well that are very art specific. Yeah. So for the Reddit questions, the killer asked us about a couple balance. So answers on these are kind of short, but he was asking about will the catapult, our missile launcher, do things like produce missiles so they're not just instantly firing every 10 seconds. Most of our stuff, like artillery, missiles, just like nukes and anti-nukes are currently using, will use our ammo cost system. But we really don't want to spend a lot of time balancing that until we actually get the game to the point where it's really ready to have some heavy focus on that aspect of it. And as kind of a part two of that question, he was asking us about tactical missile defense. You can't really answer that. I mean, the answer to that right now is send units. Go attack your neighbor. Generally, anti-nuke isn't going to go after that. Shields have been in a lot of other games. So, right now, send units, and we'll get to that when we're in beta and see kind of what's necessary if it really needs a specific counter other than, kill your neighbor.
Yeah, just go blow up your neighbor. It's simple.
The last thing is, for people who hang out on Reddit, Brian Perkis and some of the guys out there were working on a site called PAMatches.com. If you like watching a lot of the live streams and the YouTube streams, check out PAMatches.com. It is a well-done site, looks beautiful, and it has a ton of content that's been gathered from YouTube, from Twitch, from various other sources. It's a great site, check it out. So someone was asking about orbital fighter and our orbital units. And basically the answer to that is we're iterating on that stuff right now. We hope to have it to you guys soon. And once we have a first batch of the orbital units out there, along with some pretty new art and a brand new play field to play in, we'll be asking for a lot of feedback because we have a lot of great ideas about it, but we also want to see what the community thinks and kind of what interactions they want on the orbital layer as well.
Absolutely.
Underwater. So there's a couple questions about naval underwater buildings. That is actually one of the things that me, Skathis, and a few other guys have been kind of talking about all week, and that is getting naval and underwater to a first-class citizen. We were talking yesterday about making sure metal spots are visible underwater, getting more buildings buildable on the surface and underwater, and you'll start seeing a lot more of that come in very soon. Actually, one of our new programmers who just joined us this week, Nick, is working on giving us a lot more freedom to build stuff on the water and underwater just by changing a little bit of the data settings. Yeah. Which will be awesome and very powerful for us from a design perspective. Lava metal planets be playable in the next build. So as always, when people ask us, is it going to be in the next build? Is it going to be next month? The answer is we'll have it in once it's ready. We don't generally give answers on specific ETAs other than, we're working on this stuff really hard. And a lot of stuff is going on the back end that doesn't make it into every build. And we make it available as soon as it can because we're really excited to get lava and metal planets playable for people.
Absolutely.
Bombers, will they use actual bombs instead of missiles like they're using? Yes. The missiles were put in as a stopgap, so they were at least functional because we needed bombers in, but we're going to get real bomb, ballistic type behavior. So they're actually going to have to lead their targets a lot more and will be a lot easier to balance at that point as well. Sorry, some of these questions are really long, so I'm trying to remember exactly. So there's been a lot of discussion about tech levels, Tech 1, Tech 2, Tech 3. From our perspective, that is purely an organizational nicety. Don't get hung up on the concepts of Tech 1 or Tech 2. Much like TA, we try and make units that are not repetitive, that are not upgrades, that are useful throughout the game. We use tech mostly as a way to say, this is kind of one of the first things you build, this is one of the later things you build, this is one of the last things you build. It's purely organizational from our perspective. Don't get hung up on tech. It's pure semantics. We don't really, that's one of the reasons we don't expose tech levels in the UI, because it doesn't really matter other than from an organizational perspective. Okay, yeah, I think that's mostly. And this is actually an interesting one. So in terms of relevant to the art discussion, someone was asking us about reclaimable units and trees and rocks on the
Yeah.
surface, and what we're going to plan on doing with those in terms of how we interact with those in gameplay.
Right.
So do you want to talk about that a little bit? Kind of, because I know for aesthetically you have some big
Oh,
plans on how you want
aesthetically,
how the
yeah.
players to interact with trees.
Because eventually, trees will all be blocking and rocks will be blocking, and you can reclaim those for energy or mass. So I'm not sure if we can have forest fires and knocking them down and all that kind of stuff. So I hesitate talking about that because we just haven't figured that out yet. But we definitely. I mean, right now you put a big factory down and you got trees poking out of it. What I mean? And of course you can't do that. And so we have to discuss whether or not if you put a factory down, does it automatically take the trees down, or do you have to actually reclaim that area like you had to do in I don't know. So lots to be decided, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and on the tech side, Maver and I've talked about this a lot. We've talked with Ben and a couple other people. We do want to get things like blowing up trees and getting these giant forest fires going.
Fire, yeah.
That's still kind of work in progress. We want interactions like that because, for people who played TA back in the day, laying waste to an entire forest was just awesome to watch. So, we really want to get that sort of stuff back in.
Yeah, for sure.
The last Reddit question that was specific, and this is kind of, it's about gas giants. And so right now the plan for gas giants is they are primarily orbital and resource items. Future plans, hard to say, but for right now, think about them basically as giant orbital playgrounds. And they will be very worth owning because they're going to be some very specific units for orbital or for a gas giant gameplay. So they're going to, much like metal planets, they have some very specific case uses that you're going to want to own.
Some of the concepts we've talked about are just, I think you guys are going to like them. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. So one of the topic you guys started talking about, and I saw the question come up during the live stream, someone asked, why aren't the assets being auto-generated? I think there was some confusion as to, we're procedurally generating our planets, but there's a lot of work that goes into our CSG system, into doing all the work you guys are doing to actually generate these planets.
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
if you guys want to, I don't know how easy that is to describe a little bit, but provide a little information on what the workflow you guys go through to make a procedurally generatable planet.
Gotcha, yeah, because it is procedurally generated in terms of how all the CSG and features, all the items that go on a planet are placed, but still artists create those individual pieces. Then we have to create the units, we have to create the trees because we have a certain style we're going for, so we have to create a certain look to it, and that becomes a component. Now those components, how they're placed and how they're constructed together, that's what's procedural about it, which is super powerful because traditionally building a level could take weeks or months, of artist time. Like building environments is, I don't know, I think you could argue is the most time-consuming part about building a game is building the level and the environment because that's mostly what you see, right? So. The power of having, you build all these components and then algorithmically everything is generated is, within seconds. It's just amazing. It's amazing. And I think it's the wave of the future. I think that we're going to see a lot more of this procedurally generated content. So yeah, we still have to build the components, but the power in it is, using simplex noise and different algorithms and parameters to procedurally, tweak those, So we've been having a good time. We have amazing technology, and it's going to be in your hands soon. And like we said, I mean, we it's the mistakes that happened during this process that could be super inspiring. It's like, whoa, what the heck just happened, And that's part of the beauty of this procedural stuff is like you can just do. It just opens up a whole new world of stuff. And I don't know if Tim or Brandon, you wanted to speak to that a little bit and your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I agree that the more you add to a planet and the more it sort of grows, the more it kind of directs you, and you find yourself following it, responding to what it seems to need. So yeah, I've been inspired by the happy accidents and all that stuff. And even just the horribly wrong things get you thinking. and you find yourself at a solution. Hey, I just figured out why this is happening, or So.
Yeah, it's been cool.
So that's there's a few other things, like some people talking about emissive and other tech, and I think I'd rather save that for another live stream. We're running a little long now, but we have a lot of new tech coming on board. We just got our new programmer Steve, who just joined us from that big empire over there. And he's going to be doing a lot of work in the coming months on a lot of features that'll make these guys really happy.
My gosh, yeah.
Emissive and refraction and reflection and
Synergetic post-processing.
And just some stuff
awesome.
that will really help
Yeah,
make the game that much prettier and give you guys that many more tools in your chest to just make it freaking amazing.
I can't say enough how lucky we are to have this engineering team. And that was just awesome. So thanks, guys.
Seriously. So that's it. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
We'll be back soon. We're not committing to a specific schedule, but we're trying to come out here and see you guys pretty often. Yes. Okay, my brain's not working anymore. Anyway, thanks to these guys for joining us. It's awesome stuff going on the art front, and you guys should see it in game pretty soon.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, cool. Well, thanks, you guys.
Thanks, everyone.